Good afternoon, Cedarfield. How is everybody doing today? I am Karen Wilder. I am the dietitian here at Cedarfield, and I'm happy to be here today. I hope you all are enjoying this nice day and taking a little break and tuning in. We're happy to have you here. Trying to get the word out that we're still doing our live stream here, especially now that things are kind of shutting down a little bit. You know, this provides something for you to do for 30 minutes. Again, I want to emphasize that we started recording the show. So if you normally tune in at 1 and you miss it for whatever reason, maybe you forgot or you had something else to do, you can watch the show anytime. If you go to the My Cedarfield app or website, look for the Apple icon, which is the diet and nutrition dimension of Pathways to Wellness. And you can find all the videos going back several months. You can catch up if you've missed some episodes, you want to learn some info. You can also find some old issues of the Dietitian's Digest from the Informer, and then I have a bunch of other information that I've added on there for you to kind of look through if you're just looking for some general nutrition information. Anyway, so hopefully you'll check that out. At the very least, though, you can come back and look at the shows. All right, so I am going to reiterate a little bit of information that I talked about last week, because I feel like I kind of rushed through it, and then it kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about this week. So last week we were, it was the first week back after the new year, so we talked about fad diets, since that's always kind of one of the big New Year's resolutions is, people wanting to focus more on their health, whether that's a new exercise program or routine, they join a gym. The gyms are always really crowded in January. But then also people, this is the year they're gonna lose 20 pounds or whatever. They're gonna go vegetarian or they're gonna, just change, the way they eat and eat healthier. So I always applaud that effort to improve your health for sure. But then, there's a lot of really terrible ways to go about improving your health, kind of like quick, get rich quick schemes, kind of that relates to fad diets and things too. So we talked about some of the fad diets, some of the buzzwords in nutrition right now, kind of weighed some of the pros and cons. But at the end, we talked a little bit about weight loss and, kind of, again, successes and failures and how to maybe be more successful if weight loss is your goal. But then at the end, I touched upon a little bit about weight loss and weight in our older population, particularly our residents here at Cedarfield. So in nutrition, geriatric, unfortunately, I apologize to some of you who are a little younger. Geriatric is someone who is 65 and older, but there can be a big difference in someone who's 65 versus someone who's 85, and then everything in between. I mean, everybody ages differently, everybody has different genetics and lifestyles, etc. So we kind of have to lump everybody together in this age group, but also obviously health and fitness and nutrition and everything is very individualized according to what your specific needs are, your lifestyle, whatever disease processes you are going through, etc. But just in general, when we talk about the older population or older people, we're kind of referring, like I said, lumping everybody together in the 65 and over age group, which is the Cedarfield population. So there's kind of this, like I was saying last week, so I'm going to just, like I said, reiterate what I mentioned, try to explain it a little better and not as rushed. There's kind of a shift in what we consider a healthy weight in older people and the older population. So just kind of putting an example out there, for someone who's 5'5", let's say, that's about how tall I am, the current range for younger adults, people under 65, the age range for someone like me, I'm 5'5", what would be considered a healthy age range would be between 110 and 150. So if I fell in within that range, my doctor would say you're in a good range, good job. And then when you kind of go beyond that 150, if you kind of go into the, what they consider overweight or obese, then your risk for certain disease processes starts to increase, whether that's heart disease or diabetes or, arthritis, things like that. However, once you reach 65, let's say once I reach 65 and I, assuming I don't grow to, a foot or whatever, which is not likely, or shrink, I'll still be about 5'5", and so that healthy age range is gonna, the healthy weight range is gonna shift up. So then, before it was 110 to 150. Now, once I hit 65, it's gonna shift up a little. And so now that healthy weight range will be 140 to 180. So you can see, now, whereas, typically, a lot of the people in our population are overweight and a lot of healthcare providers are pushing people to lose weight. Now, once we get older, you might start seeing a trend where you might be encouraged to actually gain a little weight or kind of maintain where you are at the very least. That's because weight loss in the older population, especially that, middle old and older old, it really starts to become a problem. I mean, that's a very, very natural part of aging, is that you're gonna start to, lose muscle mass, especially as you lose your ability to get around and your mobility. I mean, this is not a secret, that weight loss is very common as people age. And so we really start to push trying to maintain that weight, maintain that muscle mass, because it helps so many different parts of your body and your organs and your systems, etc. So that is why this, healthy weight range kind of shifts up, and we start to focus on maintaining weight, gaining weight even. That's one of the biggest challenges that I have up in healthcare, is just getting our residents to maintain their weight or to gain weight. We have a lot of issues with weight loss, which is so counter to so much of what I've learned as a dietitian. Again, we typically tend to focus more on helping people lose weight if that's their health goal. So there's a lot of studies. So if you go to your doctor, there may not be mention of this because some of this shift is not 100% official within the medical community, and it depends on the type of doctor you're seeing. And I don't want to make it sound like it's just some kind of a conspiracy theory kind of thing. I mean, there is some very sound research that has gone into proving that this, weight shift is valid and important. But there's this thing called BMI, or body mass index, and that's just basically where your weight is relative to your height and your body type, and that's kind of what doctors look at to determine whether you're overweight or underweight or at a healthy weight. So that there are a lot of, so doctors are still going to compare your weight to this traditional BMI scale. However, kind of unofficially, like I said, people are recognizing this upshift in healthy weight for older Americans or older people. And so I certainly look at that too. So the studies out there that support this notion show that people who were underweight in this new kind of healthy range, if people fell under that range, they had a 28% increase in their risk of death. Now, I always kind of chuckle when I hear that a statistic like that, because like we're all going to die at some point. So, this whole notion of like increasing your risk of death, like we all have a 100% risk of death, right? But this is kind of referring to increasing your risk outside of kind of how you maybe normally would have progress to the end of your life, exacerbated by problems related to the being underweight, which again kind of goes back to that loss of muscle mass, bone density, increased frailty, and risk of falls, which then can create a lot of problems if you were to break bones or have a head injury, things like that. You start to lose your independence, it affects your balance, etc. So this research also showed, interestingly enough, we're told so often that when you're overweight or you're obese, that increases your risk for all these issues and problems. But with this study for older adults, there was no increased risk of mortality for people who were overweight. So the bigger concern as we get older is really becoming underweight as opposed to becoming overweight or obese, which is, like I said, counter to what we're used to. So the point of all this is, as an older adult, if you live at Cedarfield, you fall into that category. Weight loss should probably become less and less of a concern. Now, that's not to say it shouldn't be a concern at all. There are still certain situations. Again, everybody's different. This is very individualized information where weight loss is beneficial, especially if you're in that younger old category. Weight loss could definitely improve maybe your diabetes diagnosis, or maybe your issues with joint pain or arthritis, or it might help you to improve your risk of heart disease, etc. So there are still situations where weight loss might be warranted and could improve your health situation. But if you're kind of getting to the point where all your interventions for disease processes are exhausted and you're just trying to kind of maintain your health, then weight loss might become an issue, and you might want to start to focus more on maintenance and gaining. Okay, so hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. Anyway, but that kind of goes into the topic that I was going to talk to you today. If you do have questions about well, should I be trying to lose weight? Should I be trying to gain weight? I'm not sure where I fall in this, all these different age groups you keep talking about. I would be happy to talk to you about it individually. Don't hesitate to call me or contact me, because again, like I said, this is different for everybody. And everybody has different health goals. So I'm happy to kind of clarify that for you individually. Okay, so when I say things like, weight loss shouldn't be much of a concern for you as we get older. So what I kind of mean by that is maybe not focus so much on that number on the scale. It's probably just more important that you focus on living the healthiest life that you can, based on whatever your goals for yourself is and for your longevity, desires, whatever. So whether that means you get more exercise, if you're not exercising enough, maybe you focus on trying to sleep more and get better night's sleep, or maybe you need to try to manage some stress a little bit better. Maybe that means you need to drink more fluids and stay hydrated a little better. Or maybe that means you need a complete diet overhaul. Or maybe you want to focus on all of these things. That is, that's up to you again and your goals, but just focusing on being the healthiest version of yourself is probably the best you can do, and not focusing on one thing in particular, like, your weight or your number. If you're a little bit in the overweight category, but you're exercising every day, you're eating well, you're managing your stress, getting good sleep, all those good things, you're probably fine. Sometimes that number on the scale is a little relative to different things in our lives or, our bodies. So anyway, don't fret it so much. Don't be too obsessed. So obviously I deal with nutrition more so than the exercise and all those things. So we're going to focus on how to, focus on a more well-balanced, healthy meal. So I thought I would kind of go into, this is pretty, Nutrition 101. We're going to go back to the basics, and we're going to talk about how to build a healthy meal. how to build that healthy, well-balanced diet that I talk about so often. And the way I like to present this is through what is called MyPlate, which is a whole campaign essentially that the government put together, the USDA and the FDA, to kind of help simplify healthy eating in a kind of a visual way. And I personally think it's great. I think it's really simple to follow and a good way to kind of visualize how to build a healthy meal and to understand the different food groups that you should be trying to get each day. So I'm going to show you an example. I understand that it might be kind of small and it's in black and white, so it's not the best visuals. But anyway, I will show it to you as, again, it's very simplified, so it kind of works. Anyway, so here it is. Here is the healthy plate. Hopefully you can see it. So what this does is it helps you to understand the different food groups that you should be trying to get each day and in each meal, essentially. So if you can incorporate these 5 things into each meal 3 times a day at least, or maybe 5 or 6 smaller meals, then you don't have to worry about whether you're getting proper nutrition. You probably are if you're following this plan. Okay, so I know it's probably small and hard to read, so I will read them to you. So it's fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and then dairy. So we'll go through each one briefly. Hopefully none of these are things you've never heard of. If you watch the show, you've definitely heard of these things. All right, so the way this plate is kind of laid out is showing you how much of each food you should eat. Or kind of how you can divide up your plate to kind of show you, what you should have on there. So half of your plate, you can see the plate split in half with fruits and vegetables on one side. So what that means is half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. And then the other half is split up, so a quarter of your plate should be grains, and another quarter of your plate should be protein. And then they've got the dairy off to the side. It kind of represents a glass of milk, but that could be milk or cheese or yogurt, something like that. So this is not necessarily saying that you have to split your plate up into 4 and have fruits here, vegetables here, grains, proteins. But what this is kind of showing you is that at least half of whatever you're eating in a meal should be fruits and vegetables, and then maybe 25% of your meal should be some sort of a grain, 25% of your meal should be some sort of a protein food. So you can kind of mix and match as best you want, or as best for you and whatever you're craving or whatever you're eating, but you can kind of keep in mind, okay, so like say you're putting together a breakfast and you have a bowl of cereal. So that's going to be your whole bowl, right? So your whole plate essentially is going to be cereal. But if you keep in mind, okay, if I have some cereal, well, that's a grain. If I pour some milk in it, well, that's my dairy. If I add a banana to the top of it, well, that's my fruit. And then we don't typically eat vegetables for breakfast, but maybe you have a glass of tomato juice. So there's your vegetables. So you didn't exactly have a plate cut into 4, but you strive to meet all of the different categories in your meal. So another example I always like to give is a plate of pasta. So again, if you have a big plate of pasta, you haven't cut it into 4 with the different things, but you have hopefully whole wheat pasta. So there's your grain. And then you'll have some tomato sauce that probably has some onions and peppers and stuff in it. So there's your vegetable. Maybe you have a little, or maybe you're the kind of person that likes to cut up some squash or zucchini into your pasta. So there's some more vegetables. Maybe you didn't get a fruit, but maybe since you had tomato sauce and you had some other veggies in your pasta, well, that's 2 vegetables. So there you go. And then maybe you cut up some chicken, some grilled chicken, and put it in your pasta as well. So there's your protein. And then if you have a glass of milk, or maybe you put some cheese on your pasta. So there again, you didn't necessarily have the 4 sections, but you got all the different food groups into that meal. So hopefully that kind of helps you understand, if you kind of think about this as like, okay, there's 5 different things that I need to strive for to get within this meal. You don't necessarily have to, make your plate look exactly like this. But some people that this will help them too. So now when past I've kind of introduced this concept to people, they say, I have to eat all of that food? So yes, in a way, you do. But you can tailor the portion sizes to how much food you can typically eat in a meal. So most people eat kind of a smaller breakfast. So if you're striving to get all of these things into your breakfast, that can add up to be a lot of food if you don't normally eat all of these things. So maybe if you you don't typically have a protein with your breakfast, then maybe you can just add like a hard-boiled egg, or maybe a piece of string cheese, something like that, or even a yogurt, which kind of doubles for your protein and your dairy. So hopefully, you don't have to have a huge plate and fill it up completely. You could have a smaller plate and still do the 4 sections or the 4 types of food. Just, lessen your portion sizes to match how much you can typically eat. Again, it's more important that you're just trying to get all the different types of foods to get that variety of all the vitamins and minerals and things, as opposed to feeling like you have to fill up a whole entire plate with all this food that you don't normally like to eat. So let's go through the benefits of making sure you're getting all of these food groups. So hopefully making sure you're getting plenty of fruits and vegetables is not a surprise to you. Fruits and vegetables are so important for so many reasons. They provide obviously vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, which are great for reducing your risk of cancers, heart disease. It's good for your brain health, eyes, skin, all kinds of good things. Fruits and vegetables have what we call phytonutrients, so these are also like vitamins and minerals that provide health benefits to our bodies. Fruits and vegetables are a great source of fluid for hydration. They are a great source of fiber, a good source of natural sugars, etc. So we should be trying to get 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables each day. So you can kind of split those up amongst your meals. Fruits and vegetables can also provide small amounts of protein if you're more a vegetarian or plant-based. So the most important thing is to provide yourself with a variety of fruits and vegetables. That's why sometimes you hear people referring to eating the rainbow. So fruits and vegetables come in all different colors. And so it's important to try to get all those different colors in, because those colors, the things that are creating the colors in your fruits and vegetables, are also some of the molecules that are responsible for some of the health benefits. So when you're getting all those colors, you're getting a wide variety of health benefits. Fruit and veggies are low in fat, they're low in sodium, naturally they're low in sodium, low in cholesterol, and what else? Let's see. Oh, I was going to say, it doesn't necessarily matter whether you have fresh vegetables and fruits or frozen or canned, even dried. The most important thing is, for canned vegetables and fruits, for veggies, you want to try to get lower sodium products or no sodium added. And then for veggie or fruits, you want to try to get the canned version. If you're going to do canned, get the ones that are in water or a lighter syrup. Also, if you are someone with diabetes or you're watching your sugar, trying to control your blood sugar, you may want to replace some of those servings of fruit for more veggies and limit your fruit to maybe 1 or 2 servings per day, because that natural sugar can affect your blood sugar. You could also have fruit juice or vegetable juice, and that definitely counts towards your fruits and veggies. You're going to miss out on some of the fiber, but you'll still get a lot of the vitamins and minerals. Just make sure they're not adding a lot of like high fructose corn syrup or sugar, especially to your fruit juices. So just try to strive to eat as much whole fruit and vegetable as you can. Maybe try to make a rule of, 50% of your fruits and vegetables will be a natural whole source, and then you can get it through other sources, other ways. Alrighty, so moving on to grains, one of the other section on the plate. Grains are what a lot of people call like your white foods, but really we should be striving for the brown versions because those are your whole grains. But these are things that are made from wheat, rice, oats, corn, so things like bread, pasta, cereals, popcorn, tortillas, potatoes, French fries and chips, things like that. Those are all of your grains. Again, we want to strive to get as many whole grains as we can. These grains are good sources of carbohydrates, which is good fuel for our bodies. But those whole grains have more fiber in them. They have the healthier fats and oils. There are more vitamins and minerals maintained, the less they're processed. These whole grains can also help reduce your cholesterol and risk of heart disease. Again, they are great sources of fiber. They help you to feel full and manage hunger and appetite cravings. They can also help you to manage your blood sugar if you are trying to control your blood sugar, keep your eye on that. Also can be a good source of protein. So the protein group, the final corner in our plate, can be sourced from either animals or plants. So our animal-based proteins are all of our meats, our seafood, poultry, eggs, and then dairy products. Plant-based proteins can come from beans, peas, nuts, lentils, quinoa, and soy products. So you always want to strive, if you are someone that enjoys protein from animals, you want to try to stick with some of the leaner sources of protein and stay away from those really fatty sources. You also want to in like poultry, things like that, you want to remove the skin because there's a lot of added fat to that skin. So protein is really important to make sure you're getting plenty of, especially in older adults. Again, that helps to maintain that muscle mass, which helps you improve your balance and maintain your independence. It helps to improve your skin integrity, which protects you from so many things in our environment. It also helps to support your immune system. So again, making sure you're getting plenty of protein is very vital for older adults. And then finally, there's the little dairy circle at the top. So again, they're representing that by, kind of like what looks like a glass of milk. But you don't have to drink a glass of milk. I know a lot of people don't like milk, but you can get that through yogurt, or if you're adding cheese to one of your recipes, that's another good source of dairy, things like that. So I personally love milk. It's a great source of water. 85% of milk is water, so you're getting water and all the other good stuff. You're getting carbohydrates, there's protein, there's fat in it, vitamins and minerals, especially calcium, which is important for older adults, everybody really. And then also it's typically fortified with vitamin D, which is also very important. However, the catch is that as we get older, it's very natural that we would become more and more lactose intolerant. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it's pretty common. So you may not be able to have that dairy product. So if that's the case, you are able to get all of the components of dairy from other foods. Fruits and vegetables have calcium in them as well. You can get protein through all the other categories we talked about. You can get vitamins and minerals from fruits and vegetables. So you can get all of those things from the other food groups. But if you do like dairy and you enjoy some of those dairy substitutes like soy milk or any other type of nut milk, just keep in mind that those don't always have all the nutrients that milk does. So if you like those products, they're not going to necessarily have the protein. So you definitely want to find one that is fortified with protein. They've started doing that more now, and also make sure that it's fortified with the calcium and the vitamin D, which most of them are nowadays. And then, any other vitamins and minerals you can get is also a plus. All right, so this can be found on the My Cedar Field app in Dining and Nutrition as well. There is a tab there for MyPlate, and it will take you to the website, and there's all kinds of really good information about the different groups. There's recipes, there's games, there's all kinds of stuff you can do on this website. It's really nice. They've done a lot of work to keep it maintained. I always recommend this as a great resource for just when you're just trying to find general ideas for healthy eating, not necessarily specific to weight loss or weight gain or a disease process, but just want some basic nutrition information. This is a great source. So again, myplate.gov is a great source. If anything, just kind of keep that plate in mind when you're planning your meals to get all those food groups in. And you should, if you can do that for most of your meals, you should be pretty good as far as getting all of those healthy nutrients that your body needs. All right, so if you have any questions about that, or you are having problems finding this website or some of the information on My Cedar Field, please contact me. I'm happy to help you out. So we thank you for joining us, and I am looking forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.